Hello, everyone, and thank you all for listening to the elevator pitch. My name is Trace. I just wanted to hop in right before we got started today and just thank you all for listening. Thank you all for clicking. And I also wanted to just say a couple of things. We originally recorded this as a concept episode. We never intended for anyone else but us and a select few people to listen to it just to give us feedback. But after we finished recording it, we had so much fun and laughed so much that we knew that it had to be out there. We just reworked it and we got it ready for people to listen to, and we decided that it would be the perfect episode to be the first episode of the elevator pitch. So I'll stop talking, I'll get out of your way, and I'll let you all listen. Thank you all so much, and we hope you enjoy.
Going up.
Hello, and welcome to the Elevator Pitch Test Podcast. Test. Concept, idea, elevator pitch. Let's make a movie, Sam.
Yeah, let's make a movie.
Let's make two movies and then put them against each other and see which one's better.
I like that plan.
Okay.
This wasn't planned out ahead.
It wasn't at all. So we have wheels
Yes.
that'll give us a random genre, two random genres. Huh?
Kind of an adjective.
Yeah, kind of. So we'll get a movie genre, and then we get to do two stars. So
Yeah.
we also have a list of 50 actors and 50 actresses.
Okay.
So we get two stars,
I'm seeing
and
some
we
fun ones.
and we create movies based on the genres and the stars we have.
Yeah.
This is just the test.
Of course. I understand.
Okay.
And whoever's listening to this, I hope you understand as well.
I hope you do. If you don't, then ask either me or Sam to explain it a little bit more before you continue.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and
please give us feedback.
honest feedback.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and start this off.
Yeah.
So
Let's spin that wheel.
We're going to start with genres. Movie genres. First movie.
Okay. And it is
A musical.
a musical.
It's a musical.
A musical
Drama. So just a
drama.
So
Okay,
just like a
that's-
regular musical.
So like a musical, but maybe it should be like really dramatic.
Like overly dramatic. Okay, our first movie
Our
star,
actor is
Jeff Goldblum.
Goldblum.
And then his co-star is
Okay.
Mila Kunis.
Mila Kunis.
Okay, so movie number one,
Okay.
musical drama.
I love it already. I'm picturing a dad and a daughter type of situation.
Okay,
That's
Starring-
that's what immediately hits me.
so movie number one, we've got a musical drama starring Jeff Goldblum and Mila Kunis. Now,
Can-
Sam, you said
Can
that
either
you're...
of them sing?
I mean, I would imagine they can. Mila
Most
Kunis
likely.
does Family Guy, and they sing sometimes on that
Well,
show.
And it's fun because
Wait, doesn't Jeff Goldblum have like a jazz band?
I would not be surprised by that. So
I gotta look that up because that'll hark on the type of music we use.
okay, that could help. You're right. Okay,
Goldblum.
jazz drama musical. That is an interesting concept.
Jazz band? He has an album.
Jazz album. So I didn't know this existed, and now
He has two of them.
okay, so apparently we're good to go. We're in the green.
Okay, so it's jazz.
We already signed him.
It's jazz. I'm writing all this down so we can like formulate, because after we create the movie, then we have to create the elevator pitch. So it's jazzy, kind of like La La Land, kind
A
of.
little La La Land. That's right.
We're inspired. We get
But
the next
instead
two
of those other two people,
right
we've
after-
got Jeff Goldblum.
right after Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. We got the next best thing, Jeff Goldblum and Mila Kunis. So I like what you were saying.
Or maybe
Like it's a father-daughter dynamic.
yeah, I think if not father-daughter, like
Mentor-mentee?
Mentor, yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Well, let's decide which one.
I think father-daughter would be more good for dramatic.
What if it's both?
Maybe it's both.
Maybe
he's a woodworker.
Okay, well,
he's teaching her.
I was gonna fall into the jazz thing.
Okay,
but I kind of like.
I'm gonna be honest. As I said, woodworker, I thought to myself, maybe it could be more like diegetic music, like it's in the actual space.
Yeah, but it's also not.
Yeah, so maybe like Whiplash.
Okay, so he's
not my tempo.
Could
you imagine Jeff Goldblum in that role?
As what's his name? I can't think of his name. He was the yellow peanut Eminem, right? he's J. Jonah Jameson.
Guy you go to? J. Jonah Jameson. Yeah, that's what I.
What's
usually
his name?
I don't know.
He's the State Farm guy, I think.
Yeah. Everybody knows him now. We've said enough things.
Anyway, okay. So Act 1. What if it starts? So it starts as Mila Kunis as a little girl.
Okay.
Maybe we get some CGI in there, de-age Jeff Goldblum a little bit.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say de-age Mila Kunis. I was like, I don't know about that.
Just Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
So we'll de-age Jeff Goldblum.
Maybe we should just take clips from Jurassic Park.
The original.
Yeah, and just use them, like, superimpose it
over
into space.
That
like,
sounds...
Put a bad Photoshop saxophone in his hands.
Anyway, this seems like it's a drama, so it's very somber.
It's got to be very serious.
Act 1, it's showing like this happy family: Jeff Goldblum, his wife, and little Mila Kunis.
Yeah,
and they all love jazz.
Yeah, they're totally into it.
Yeah, but then his wife dies, of course, somehow.
Or has an affair, or they split up.
They
are no longer together.
No, let's say she dies.
Do you like the death? Okay, we'll do the death. Maybe she had an affair and then died.
Well, let's do both.
I want to get as much drama into this as we can.
Okay, if we're going for more drama.
Well, here's the question.
Jeff Goldblum kills her because she had an affair. And then he spends time in prison.
Okay.
So now it's also a prison drama.
God, this is so
unless
complex.
We don't like that idea.
I don't know if I love that. So let's cut that.
So she dies.
She's dead. She beefs it.
She fucking beefs it. Anyway, then
unrelated to anything. It's just to pull at your heartstrings.
Yeah. It is related. Second half of Act 1.
Okay. You have a way to tie it back. Okay.
Second half of Act 1. Because she died and she was the more jazzy person, Jeff Goldblum hates jazz now.
Oh, okay. He's like lost his spark.
He's lost his jazz soul.
Okay. And now Mila Kunis needs to reinvigorate it. Right?
Yeah. Maybe he was like maybe they were jazz musicians together, him and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And then that adds more drama because then Mila Kunis, when she grows up, she asks her dad to become a jazz musician with her again.
And it's like old wounds have now been opened. I like it.
So he loses his soul.
His jazz soul.
20 years later, Mila Kunis is all grown up.
Yes.
And she, should we give her like relationship problems? Like a B plot?
Maybe she feels like she's in her father's shadow as a jazz musician.
Everybody's
like, you're Jeff Goldblum's daughter.
And that'll be his name. It'll stay Jeff Goldblum.
Well, I'm using our...
No, I'm kidding. Okay, so she follows in his footsteps as being a jazz musician, but she can't shake his shadow.
Yeah.
But then I feel like if she couldn't shake her shadow, then
you make a fair point that it would be weird for her to ask him to...
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
I agree. Maybe that's not the right direction.
Maybe she can't make it as a jazz musician. She's like an amateur jazz musician going to clubs. She doesn't really have her full soul. She's almost jazz soul doubt.
But for a different reason. Maybe she's just like been beaten down by this so much.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that works.
She also doesn't have a good relationship with Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, probably like a little bit of falling out over the mother and stuff.
Yeah. But in the middle of Act 2, half of Act 2, she's always asking him, come to my show, come to my show.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of Act 2, he finally does.
Okay.
And
So
he
that's
starts
kind of
to
our
get
turn.
his soul back.
Now we have to have like a second turn. What could happen to them now that they're together and they're starting to get their soul back?
She gets a record deal.
Okay, so
But
this
they
is
don't
like,
want Jeff Goldblum. It's like
so
a
it's like
Star
a
is
Star
Born.
is Born. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They don't want
So
Jeff
we're-
Goldblum. And she is willing to accept it.
Which I have to say is entirely unbelievable that they wouldn't want Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah. But, it's a movie. There's always going to be
Yeah.
fiction.
He's from an older jazz era, is what they
Yeah,
probably like saying.
he's like old jazz. She's like into new wave jazz.
Yeah.
And then they have a fight, of course.
Yeah. Very dramatic.
And at the end of the fight, she
maybe
says,
it's like a duet song where they're like singing back and forth. It's very dramatic. I
Yeah.
think you did lose the plot of the musical a little bit.
well, since we said it kind of worked like with the
Just kind of in the
yeah,
Okay, I
like
guess
La
that's
La
true.
Land where it's in the stuff.
yeah. It would
There's
sort
also
itself
like
out when we're writing it.
okay, if we want to add a song at the beginning when the family's still together, there's like a song that the mother loves to sing,
Yes.
and then that'll come back
I love
later.
this idea, and then that'll come back.
Yeah.
It'll be very emotional, very touching.
Yeah. At the end of their fight, their duet song thing,
Hmm.
they have, she says, fine, you know what, I'm signing the record deal.
Okay.
And then he loses his soul again, because, like, this like, last 30 to 45 minutes of the movie, the previous 30 to 45 minutes, he started to find his soul again.
Hmm. Yeah.
And he was having a great time. But then he loses it again. And maybe this time he, like, starts drinking or something.
Okay, that's interesting.
And then okay, so there's got to be conflict. Maybe because of he, like, starts drinking one night and he, like, goes to the hospital or something. Like, he gets really
Yeah.
hurt
Okay, maybe he gets in a car accident.
because he was drunk driving.
Yeah.
And it's also like
Maybe he has
like
a very heartbreaking, emotional song while he's driving in his car.
and he's drunk. And there's, like, a PSA to kids, like, don't drink and drive or you'll end up like Jeff
Yeah,
Goldblum.
the doctor turns straight to camera and he sings a song
about drinking
to
and
the
driving.
kids about not to do that.
She is about to record her first record.
Yeah, and she
And
gets,
she gets a
the
call.
call comes in.
She gets a call. Hey, stop
It's the
real
hospital.
quick. It's the hospital. Your father, he was in a car
With
accident.
Pop.
Your good old Pop. She calls him Pops because it's quirky.
Yeah.
She goes to the hospital. He's, like, hooked up to a bunch of tubes and stuff. They say he's been out for a while. He's, like, maybe in a coma.
Okay, I have an alternate
Okay.
option. Maybe like he played some sort of instrument, and now his like hands or arms are now messed up beyond repair, and now he can't do jazz.
He did
and so
piano.
She feels
and
guilty
it's-
about it.
Yeah, he did
He
piano.
played the piano,
And
yeah.
his hands don't work no more.
Yeah, they're too messed up now.
And he's, like,
play well.
asleep. And while he's asleep, she starts singing the song that the mother liked.
Yes, it's so. I'm already crying, Trace.
I am weeping.
I can already see Jeff Goldblum standing for Best Actor at the Oscars right now.
And then maybe so the doctor tells her this, like, his hands he'll never play the piano again, he says.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though
He'll
he
say
doesn't
exactly that.
Yeah. And she starts singing the song, and then there's, like, a montage of, like, physical therapy.
Okay. While
This
the
is-
song plays.
This is, like, the end of, like, this is getting towards the end of the movie.
Yeah. Then now their relationship's going to get reconnected.
And then they're going to do a record deal together. There's going to be a
I like
scene where so there's, like, the physical therapy montage, and he's slowly learning how to play piano again while the song plays.
Yeah, it's like Doctor Strange. You know how he's got like the weird hand problem?
Yeah. And he
like
has to fix it. Then
Jeff Goldblum learns magic.
he learns magic.
Just like in Doctor Strange.
No. Then what happens is she goes to the record deal. They're like, we can finish recording that record. And she says, no. Not unless you let my dad come with me.
Okay.
And then it's very, like, it doesn't, that scene, they don't give you resolution for that scene.
In terms of the music, hold on. I think we have to do it like this. First it's her singing by herself, and there's the physical therapy, and then we get like a musical break, and she has that scene where she talks to the person, and she's like, I have to do it with my dad, and then we cut to them in the studio singing it together. It's beautiful. Everyone in the theater is crying.
And then the very last, that's like the finale.
Yeah.
And then the very last scene is they go and put flowers on the mom's grave.
Perfect.
Okay, we have the
Cherry
first
on the
one.
cake.
What is the title of this movie?
Jazz Hands.
Jazz Hands, that's a good... What if her name... Okay, I was going to say this, but it sounds kind of perverted. I was going to say, what if her name is Ivory in the movie, and it's called Tickling the Ivory?
Absolutely not. It's got to be very, like... It's got to be like one or two words. It's got to be really short and kind of like...
Piano. Just
Jazz.
piano.
Mila Kunis.
Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum and Mila Kunis star in Jeff Goldblum. Star in...
I'd actually be kind of upset about that. Let's see.
The
Something
Jazz
with
Soul.
jazz.
We talked about the Jazz Soul a lot.
Maybe something with soul, because jazz is very soulful, I feel like. So we talked about soul a lot.
So
how do we get that
what
in
if
there?
the pianist's soul, like he's a pianist and he lost his soul, he's finding his soul.
Okay.
How do you like that?
I like that.
That's a working title.
I think that works.
We'll think about it. We'll keep
Piano soul.
piano soul.
Pianist's
Pianist
soul.
soul.
Soul of a pianist.
See, I feel like that's too much.
That's a little too long.
Pianist
You're right.
soul.
I'm sorry. I'm so stupid sometimes.
You fucking asshole. I think the Pianist Soul starring Jeff Goldblum and Mila Kunis is exactly what we need right now in this world.
I think that's perfect. I think it's going to say a lot about society.
Okay, so the Pianist Soul is a musical drama starring Jeff Goldblum and Mila Kunis.
Gotcha.
That's movie number one.
Okay, next one. Versus.
This one is going to go against a... Let's see.
A
comedy.
Comedy. Okay, this is going to be...
A comedy thriller. I was hoping it was going to be Western so we could...
Thriller.
Okay. Comedy thriller.
That's going to be so tonally confusing, but let's jump into the actors.
Comedy thriller starring Jane Fonda. Jane Fonda and... No, it can't be Mila Kunis twice.
Mila Kunis again. She can't be in two.
Yeah, she can't be in two of them. Adam Sandler. There it is. There it is. There it is. There it is. Now, what has Jane Fonda
right
done
off the
before?
bat, it's gotta be an Adam Sandler movie. It can't be a normal
What has
comedy.
Jane Fonda been in? Grace and Frankie, The News... Okay. Yeah, I know who she is then.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Okay.
that is fucking perfect. Okay.
My God.
So movie 2 is
A comedy thriller.
comedy
Okay.
thriller.
What the hell? Those are so...
They're polar opposites, but I think that's what
Yeah.
that's what's going to get us there.
Maybe we could
Starring.
do it as more a slight parody of thrillers.
Do you think the
that's how-
Sandman
maybe
would
that's
do
the
that? Do you
angle we
think
could
Sandman would do that?
I don't think so, but maybe this is one of his. Maybe this is one of the roles where he's not
The creator.
the creator. He like Uncut Gems. Or
Yeah, okay. So it's like
that other one.
so it's a comedy thriller. Now what are some other thrillers so I know what I'm kind of dealing with?
Thrillers are like almost horror movies. They're like suspense. That's the song.
That's
thriller.
the song thriller. Parasite, Get Out, Us. Okay, yeah. So more suspense.
Yeah, they're like suspenseful. Now, okay, here's the thing. Both comedy and suspense rely on timing.
That's a good point.
So maybe they can play well together.
Okay. So what is like the relationship between our two stars?
Okay, so how old is Adam Sandler?
Adam Sandler, I think he's in his 50s.
I think Jane Fonda could be the mother.
Do we want to do a mother-father or a mother-son thing instead of the
That mother-son versus
father-daughter?
father-daughter.
So he's 53.
That's our battle.
Jane Fonda.
I think she was.
She might be even older. 82.
Yeah, she's 82.
She could definitely be the mother.
Okay, so she's the mother.
Okay.
Of
Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler.
Jane Fonda birthed Adam Sandler.
Okay, how about we turn this on its head? Let's do something creative.
Okay. Like?
Adam Sandler is either a killer, a stalker,
That's what I was
a kidnapper, something like that. He's that.
So
he's
we're
in
doing
his
like
mother's basement. He's 50-something, and he's still living with his mother.
That's where the comedy comes in. It's like you said, maybe a little parody of Psycho.
Yeah.
It's like Psycho,
like that.
but it's like...
But it's got some funny
It's satirizing
stuff,
maybe Psycho.
Okay,
so...
And other thrillers and stuff like that. We could try and get, like, things that are common.
So he's a 50-year-old still living at home.
Yeah.
Do we want him to be a killer or, like, a stalker? Maybe he's, like, maybe he's
a stalker for most of it, and then he becomes a killer.
On accident, and that's where the comedy comes in.
On accident? He accidentally kills someone.
Yeah.
This is such a strange concept. So, alright, before we get too deep into this, is it a comedy thriller, or is it a comedy thriller? Is it more focused on the comedy, or is it more focused on the thriller?
I feel like if Adam Sandler's attached, we have to do more comedy.
We gotta lean the comedy. I agree.
Like, if it was someone else... Like, if it was anyone else, I would say lean more into thriller, comedy, like...
Yeah, if it's a comedic act, or generally assumed or associated with comedy, we have to lean into the comedy, I feel like. So
first half of the movie, Adam Sandler's someone who lives at home. He can't...
Yeah.
He, like, sucks at talking to women.
He needs an obsession. What's his obsession?
He's really obsessed.
What does he... Does he do model trains?
He's really obsessed with model trains. I like that.
I
like
love
that a
that.
lot.
He's got a giant sprawling... Maybe it's of the town.
The town that they live in. Kind of like Beetlejuice.
And he, like... And we get, like, some cool, like, transition shots where it's, like, the model house.
Like Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, it's like Mr... He's like Mr. Rogers, but if he was... a stalker and sad and pathetic.
Okay, so...
Instead of inspirational and a great
Adam
man.
Sandler is a loser who lives at home who's really into model trains. Now, if you're into model trains, that doesn't make you a loser.
That doesn't make you a loser.
But he is.
With someone like that, they in movies, they always seem to have, like, a thing. You know?
Yeah, he had to have an
obsession. They collect something, or they... And but I like this idea of model trains.
So there's a model train store in the town.
Okay.
And he goes to the model train store, and this is why he became obsessed with model trains, is because the cashier, she's really cute.
Okay.
And he stalks, and that's who he stalks.
So he has an excuse to go in there and keep seeing her.
And sometimes, like, he'll like, you got to get creepy. So sometimes he'll follow her to her car.
Oh God. Yes.
And then one time, he finally gets the gusto to kidnap her.
Okay.
And he wants to show her the model trains he has in his basement, or in his house. So he takes her to the basement.
Okay.
And then this is where Jane Fonda comes in more, because she's like, her role is, since she's like in her 80s, her role is kind of like the naive mother, like the naive but very sweet mother.
I agree.
So she's like bringing down like Hot Pockets and stuff.
And he's like having to hide her, like in like, oh, I gotta hide her in the closet.
Well, I was thinking maybe it would be funny if like she's so naive that like this cashier is out in the open.
And she's tied up with duct tape over her mouth, and she's like, "Oh, you got a girl down here. That's so nice.
You're playing," and stuff like that. Maybe she doesn't realize that her son's like
"You're
50.
Playing" was probably the scariest line she could have said right there.
It is a thriller.
That's true.
So that's like her character.
So now we need we need an antagonist to our horrible protagonist. We need like a police chief, detective, maybe even her dad.
We bring in Kevin James as... Do we want him to be a police chief?
Hold on, are we doing this? Are we doing the crew?
No, just
Happy
one of
Gilmore?
them. Just one of them.
Just one of them. Do we want him or do we want David Spade?
I
I feel like Kevin James is better. Fit.
I feel like Kevin James. I feel like he could fit it more. I feel like maybe if you
Maybe
needed
David Spade could be the guy who owns the model train store.
Yeah, he has like a small cameo. Kevin James plays like a bigger part.
Yeah, he is Paul Blart Mall Cop investigating this situation.
What if this is like set before? Like this is in the 80s, so instead of Paul...
Hold on, wait. This is the beginning of the Paul Blart Mall Cop universe.
So instead of Paul Blart Mall Cop... So instead of his character being Paul Blart, his name is like John Blart. Or like Stu Blart. He's Paul Blart's dad.
Oh, it's a prequel.
It's set in the 80s.
Oh my god. I love this.
But
it's a prequel to Paul Blart Mall Cop.
But he's Stu Blart Real Cop.
Stu Blart Real Cop. Okay, but we can't have... Should we have Kevin James then? Or should we have somebody else that's like...
No, it's like
okay.
This is an expanded universe.
Okay. I'm just throwing ideas out there. I'm just seeing what sticks.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think it like plays into the comedy more. Kevin James is so funny. So it's not about Stu Blart, but he's in the movie.
Yeah. He's a police officer working on this case.
He's the antagonist.
It's more about Adam Sandler though.
Yeah. We're starting a criminal empire extended universe in the Paul Blart universe.
Yeah, it's like, you know how you were watching Split, and then you saw that, like, the guy from Unbreakable's in it?
Yeah.
It's like that.
It's like
I want it
that.
to be more like that than, like... Yeah, I think that's
he comes
the right
in,
way to go with it.
So, okay, so... it's like Silence of the Lambs. He has her down there in his basement for a while, and she's missing.
Maybe there's a put the lotion in the basket gag.
Put the train on the tracks.
Model train. Put the train on the tracks.
It puts the train on its tracks, or else it gets the hose again.
Yeah. Okay, so then who's... Okay, so we've got... Stu Blart is like... He shows up later.
He's the antagonist.
So who's our actual antagonist then?
Well, I think it's Stu Blart.
Okay, so he's just a very minor part in this.
Yeah, because like...
Okay.
Like Adam Sandler is, even though he's like the main character, he's like the anti-hero type deal. Like you kind of root for him, but then he kidnaps someone, so you don't.
Okay.
Like, you know?
Yeah.
The antagonizer doesn't come in until the end, until about halfway through the movie.
Yeah. All right.
Kind of like Dan Aykroyd in Christmas for the Cranks.
Classic antagonist.
Classic antagonist. Anyway. There's a Silence of the Lambs gag. So he's got her down there for a while.
Yeah.
Jane Fonda, completely naive, completely she's just like a sweet old lady. That's her whole thing.
Maybe she like has her book club over, and it's like,
and
he's got to like make sure that none of them find out about this.
Yeah,
it's definitely wacky.
But
we put lots of sound effects in so that you don't realize how horrifying it is. Maybe,
and she's like,
or maybe you're supposed to.
She's telling her book club about like her son's new girlfriend.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Even though she's probably significantly younger than Adam Sandler to make it extra creepy.
Yeah, she's like 20 something.
Oh God.
It's a thriller. It's a thriller,
It's a thriller. But it's a comedy at the same time.
Yeah. It's kind of like a farce. So book club comes over. That scene ensues. We got to give Jane Fonda more. So that's what that scene's all about.
Yeah.
Like we can't call her the star unless she's in it more.
Exactly.
Exactly. Now, then what happens?
Now, how do we wrap this up? How does it end?
Stu Blart comes in. We're about halfway through the movie. Stu Blart comes in.
Yeah.
Stu Blart, real cop, comes in.
He gets this case.
He gets the case. Hey, look for this missing person. He goes to the train store. David Spade's there.
David Spade. He's there.
David Spade tells him...
guy that comes in.
There's this guy who always comes in all the time. He's kind of weird. Sometimes he follows her home. He comes over to Jane Fonda's house. And then there's like this whole Stu Blart Jane Fonda scene, where maybe she thinks he's handsome because he's like a guy in uniform type deal.
I like the way your mind works.
He's hitting on her and stuff like that.
Then we get to him going into the basement.
He goes
and then
into the
it's like a fun. Then we get to that fun hiding her part.
Yeah.
Where it's like.
Yeah. I was thinking the exact
it's very
same
tense,
thing.
very suspenseful.
Like she's
and then,
looking.
Like,
she's like
he's about to leave. He's got his hand on the doorknob, and then she like busts out of the closet.
Or he
it's
sees
like
a flat, like one of her shoes.
Yeah.
And he's
Exactly.
like, whose shoe is
Like,
this?
who's
And
this?
he's like, it's my mother's. And then he goes, and then there's like a Cinderella
It's
gag.
like, yeah, exactly.
And it doesn't fit Jane Fonda's shoe. Her foot.
Okay.
And he comes
then
back.
he's like, okay, well, what's the deal with this?
And then there's this like intense, like very realistic, like fight scene.
It's like really gritty.
Really gritty. And then there's this chase scene. And it ends.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe he like overpowers Stu Blart.
He
gets her and he runs out and he gets in his like creepy van, probably.
Yeah, like a white panel van.
Or maybe like an old, but not like retro old type pickup truck.
Something like that.
He hops in that. He speeds off. Stu Blart, very tense.
Gets in his car, calls it in, stuff like that.
Yeah, all that.
He goes back to the model train store.
Yes, I like this.
And Stu Blart starts running in after him. He goes to the roof. And this is like the climactic ending. Like it's the rooftop scene. There's always a rooftop scene.
Any rooftops are very suspenseful.
Adam Sandler has a knife. He's holding his capteur or his captee.
Yeah.
And Stu Blart comes up on top of the roof, and then there's like this gag where he's because he's like overweight and he's like out of breath and stuff.
Yeah. I love that there's still comedy spliced into this really tense scene.
This is like the only comedic moment in this whole like tense climax.
No, I feel like there should be a lot.
So more. Maybe Stu Blart like stops at McDonald's before continuing the chase.
Yeah. and then another Adam Sandler person is the
Chris Rock is like the manager of the McDonald's.
Yeah. And he's like, what's the problem here? I gotta get going.
I have to. Stu Blart ends on the rooftop.
On the rooftop. He's got his McChicken in one hand. In the other.
His McChicken in one hand, a large Diet Coke in the other. This is the product placement part that every Adam Sandler movie has.
We finally got there.
And then he's kind of fumbling for his gun.
Yeah.
And then there's like this long speech that Adam Sandler gives while he has a knife. And it ends with Stu Blart actually shooting Adam Sandler. Not like good, but
like
then
in his shoulder.
But he falls off the roof.
Do you think he dies?
You think he dies. It leads you to believe he dies.
Oh, and he gets away.
He gets away, and then
you know what that opens up for?
A sequel.
Paul Blart 3, where he is now chasing after the same man.
He's following in his father's footsteps. And then there's like this whole Nutty Professor type deal where Kevin James is playing old Kevin James and younger Kevin James.
Yes. I love it.
You have to.
Okay.
We have to always be ready for sequels in the movie biz. So that's our
right.
comedy thriller.
I think we knocked it out of the park.
What would we call it? Like The Lovely Trains or something? Like it's a play on The Lovely Bones, that old comedy or that old thriller movie.
Okay, that's not bad.
Maybe I don't want to lean into the Stu Blart thing.
No. It's got to be like kind of like
that's more of
through, it hits you and you're like, what? That's out of nowhere.
That is so crazy. Kevin James, Stu Blart, real cop.
I do feel like it has to be about the train, like
train guy.
Nope, that's pretty bad.
I kind of like The Lovely Trains.
Love on the Tracks.
Love.
No.
Well, then that seems like it's like a rom-com.
That's like a romantic movie, and it's not at all. It's like a kind of terrifying.
What if
movie.
we call it The Last Stop? There's a
okay.
Like it's like a train. This is the last stop. Maybe Stu Blart at the end on the rooftop says, "This is your last stop,"
and then he shoots him in the shoulder.
Yeah,
I love that. And then credits roll. That's like the first time ever.
The last stop. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got. Now let's have them fight. Okay, the first one. The pianist's soul in this touching movie about music, life, and family. Jeff Goldblum and Mila Kunis star as a pair of musicians who also happen to be father and daughter. Through adversity, they discover that music truly is the universal language, and that family means everything.
That was good. That was good. You put a little
Thank
stank
you.
on it, too. A little mustard on it. Okay, and I'm reading for The Last Stop.
Okay.
When a loser stalker, Adam Sandler, who lives in his mother's, Jane Fonda, basement, gets the courage to finally kidnap his dream girl, a suspenseful yet comedic journey begins. He has to jump through the hoops of being a crazy person and a mama's boy. This laugh-a-minute scarefest barrels down the tracks of comedic thrillers. All aboard! Oh my God, these are something
You delivered
else.
it like a comedy, even though it's truly horrifying.
It is. When you get down to it, it is absolutely terrifying, but still, you know.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm gonna be now. What are we judging?
Are we going for,
judging
like,
on
something
what
that
we
could-
personally think is?
let's do this. Let's do, like, the real movie. We'll pick which one could totally actually win, and then we'll pick, like, and maybe they'll overlap. Like,
It might for other ones, but I absolutely know how this is gonna work for this specific scenario.
I think that the real movie that could actually be a pitch is The Pianist Soul.
I agree.
It is the most Oscar baity
Yeah.
movie that I've ever conceived. And I
Yeah,
haven't, and we
exactly.
haven't conceived a lot of movies, but it is definitely like Oscar bait #1.
Yeah, I agree that is the more makeable movie.
So I'm going to say that one wins.
But the one that I would like to see be made
The one that I would actually love to actually see be made is this
is Last Stop.
is The Last Stop, starring Adam Sandler and Jane Fonda.
Oh, God.
And
That's beautiful.
now this this is a travesty that The Last Stop couldn't make it, but hopefully, because Adam Sandler said after Uncut Gems, if he didn't get a nomination, he would make the worst movie ever. So what if he makes The Last Stop? What if we pitch it to him?
Okay, I love this plan.
Well, that is it for the elevator pitch. Of course, we're going to leave it up to you at home. You can go and check out the posters that we made and cast your vote on our social media. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at TEP_pod. Tell your friends about us, and of course, leave a review and tell us how you like the show. And we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.